Welcome back to another episode of Scholastic IQ, the show where I see how many times I can wear the same tie without anyone noticing. I'm your host, Ethan Neer, and we have another great show in store for you tonight, so let's introduce our teams. On the bottom, we have Carbondale with Ryan, Clark, Daniel, and Theodore, and up top, we have Fairfield with Chase, Gabriel, Maverick, and Jacob. Now, before we get into the questions, let's just do a quick recap of our rules. We'll start out with some toss-up questions. Those are worth 10 points. If a team gets it right, they move on to a bonus question, which is worth 20 and can be stolen for 10. You guys are allowed to interrupt me at any time, but if you interrupt me and get a question wrong, it is 5 points for the other team, so just get it right, and that won't be a problem. Let's get into our questions. What quantity, which equals charge divided by voltage, measures the ability of its namesake circuit component to store, charge, and Daniel?
Capacitor.
Capacitance is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what type of value is returned by a dot product, but not a cross product, and has a magnitude, but not a direction?
Scalar.
Scalar is correct. Well done, Daniel. The next question, what school of thought includes the idea of Zhao, or filial piety? Right.
Confucianism.
Confucianism is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what former governor of California led the commission that investigated the assassination of John F. Kennedy?
Oh, is it Robert F. Kennedy? No. Schwarzenegger. It's not Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I really wish it was Schwarzenegger. That is incorrect. Fairfield, chance to steal.
Earl Warren.
Earl Warren is correct. Well done. For your next question, what piano piece subtitled Quasi una Fantasia opens with repeated C-sharp minor arpeggios, is by Ludwig van Beethoven, and has a nocturnal nickname? Theodore.
Moonlight Sonata.
Moonlight Sonata is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what island, whose city of Gander is the setting of the musical Come From Away, contains the provincial capital, St. John's, and is east of Labrador?
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland is correct. And we were just talking about the Canada pin. Well done to Carbondale. For your next toss-up, what empire, one of whose leaders promoted the Syncretic religion, Din-e-Ilahi, built the Taj Mahal under Daniel?
Mughal.
Mughal Empire is correct. Well done. For your bonus, Kathy Ames gives birth to two twin boys named Cal and Aaron in what novel by John Steinbeck that is set in the Salinas Valleys?
East of Eden.
East of Eden is correct. Hold on. Next toss-up. What constellation contains the Teapot asterism, as well as the supermassive black hole at the center of the Milky Way? Daniel.
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius is correct. Well done. For your bonus, pencil and paper ready. The expression 2 raised to the power of the quantity x plus 3 equals what constant times the quantity of 2 to the x?
Eight.
8 is correct. Well done, Daniel. Take it to your next question. What artist who depicted marching flies in the hallucinogenic Toreador depicted ants on a watch and Ryan?
Dali.
Salvador Dali is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what American figure skater whose parents are from China is nicknamed the Quad King and won the men's singles gold medal at the 2022 Winter Olympics?
Chen. I think it's Chen. Chen.
Nathan Wei Chen is correct. Well done. For the next toss-up, what novel which depicts Roland Weary's death from gangrene and the firebombing of Dresden from Billy Ryan?
Slaughterhouse-Five.
Slaughterhouse-Five is correct. Well done, Ryan. For your bonus, what giant who was tasked by Hera with guarding a heifer that was actually Io was slain by Hermes after Hermes put all 100 of his eyes to sleep?
Argus.
Argus is correct. Well done. For your next toss-up, what former mayor of Braddock who suffered a stroke in a May chase?
John Fetterman.
John Fetterman, the Style King, is correct. For your bonus, what process occurs when silver is exposed to sulfur compounds, resulting in a blackish film forming on its surface?
Tarnish.
Tarnished is correct. Well done. For your bonus, all right, for your next toss-up, what phenomenon is explained by the icing model, is displayed below the Curie temperature, and is a permanent, Daniel?
Superconductivity.
Superconductivity is incorrect, so I will reread it for you, Fairfield. What phenomenon is explained by the Ising model, is displayed below the Curie temperature, and is a permanent type of magnetism exhibited by iron? Gabriel.
Ferromagnetism?
Ferromagnetism is correct. Well done, Fairfield. For your bonus, what Dutch artist from the De Stijl movement painted Broadway Boogie Woogie and many works with black lines and primary color rectangles?
Pollock.
Pollock is incorrect. Carbondale chances.
Morrison.
Morrison is also incorrect. The answer we're looking for was Pete Mondrian. Pete Mondrian. The next toss-up, which king who was excommunicated by Pope Paul III and who dissolved England's monasteries had Ryan?
Henry the Sixth.
Henry VI is incorrect. I will reread the question for you, Fairfield. Which king who was excommunicated by Pope Paul III and who dissolved England's monasteries had his wives Catherine Howard and Anne Boleyn executed? Chase.
Henry VIII.
Henry VIII is correct. Well done, Fairfield. For your bonus, what service, which has been used in Ukraine since Russia invaded, is a broadband internet service deployed by SpaceX using satellites in low orbit?
Starlink.
Starlink is correct. Well done. For the next toss-up, what surname is shared by a woman whose 1971 album Pearl includes Me and Bobby McGee and the composer of The Entertainer, Theodore?
Joplin.
Joplin is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what type of eye, which is common among arthropods, is composed of thousands of ommatidia that each have their own lens?
Compound.
Compound eyes is correct. Well done. For the next toss-up, what title monarch is relieved to learn of the death of Polybius in a play by Sophocles, but blinds himself after realizing Ryan?
Oedipus.
Oedipus is correct. Well done. For your bonus, in 1793, Charlotte Corday, Girondin sympathizer, was guillotined for murdering what Jacobin in his bathtub?
Marat.
Marat.
Jean-Paul Marat is correct. Well done. For your next question, pencil and paper ready. What is the length of the longer leg of a right triangle with a hypotenuse of 17, whose shorter leg, Ryan?
15.
15 is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what city is the judicial capital of South Africa, making it one of the country's 3 capitals alongside Cape Town and Pretoria?
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg is incorrect. Fairfield, chance to steal.
Freedom Town.
That's incorrect. The answer we're looking for was Bloemfontein. Bloemfontein. All right, on to your next question. What human character titles crossover series in which he fights a kingdom war with the Rabbids and takes part in the Theodore?
Mario.
Super Mario is correct. Well done, Theodore. For your bonus, what poet whose poem Old Ironsides helped encourage the preservation of the USS Constitution had a son who was a Supreme Court justice?
Oliver Wendell Holmes.
Oliver Wendell Holmes is correct. Well done. On to the next question. What creature who lived at the spring of Anemone was defeated with Iolaus' help during the second labor of Heracles, who, Daniel?
Ladon.
Can you repeat that for me?
Ladon.
Ladon is incorrect. I will repeat the question for you, Fairfield. What creature who lived at the spring of Anemone was defeated with Iolaus' help during the second labor of Heracles, who cut off its many heads? Maverick.
Hydra.
Hydra is correct. It was the Lernian Hydra, to be specific. For your bonus, what strongman deposed Patrice Lumumba in 1960 at the beginning of the Congo crisis and became Zaire's dictator for 32 years?
No answer.
Carbondale, chance to steal.
Idi Amin.
Idi Amin is incorrect. The answer looking for was Mobutu. Mobutu. On your next toss-up, what man who surrendered his driver's license after a 2019 crash near Sandringham was ceremonially reinterred in 2022 next to his wife Elizabeth II? Theodore.
Prince Philip.
Prince Philip is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what term from the Greek for study of houses refers to the study of how organisms interact with their environments?
Ecology.
Ecology is correct. Well done, Dave. For the next toss-up, what Roman emperor convened the First Council of Nicaea, converted to Christianity? Clark.
Constantine.
Constantine the First is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what photographer's essay, The Assignment I'll Never Forget, describes how she made the 1936 portrait, Migrant Mother?
Lang.
Dorothea Lange is correct. Well done. On to our next question. What island is the home to the Space Force's Thule Air Base, which is 750 miles north of the Arctic Circle and is a large island belonging to Denmark? Clark.
Greenland.
Greenland is correct. Well done. For your bonus, New Year's Eve in New Orleans features the dropping of a 6-foot-tall version of what symbol of French kings, also used as the logo of the NFL's Saints?
Yeah.
Fleur-de-lis.
The fleur-de-lis is correct. Well done, Clark. For your next toss-up, what taxonomic class whose name ends in S contains the slow loris and the lemur, as well as larger species including chimpanzees and humans? Daniel.
Animalia.
Animalia is incorrect. Chase.
Species.
Species is incorrect. You guys might feel a bit silly about this one. Primates. Primates. It really was that simple. I'll take us to our next question. In 2022, what celebrity agreed to pay the SEC $1.2 million over her promotion of Ethereum Max tokens and also divorced her husband, Kanye West? Chase.
Kim Kardashian.
Kim K is correct. Well done. For your bonus, Nazi soldier Corporal Lankus put artistic decorations on concrete bunkers in what Günter Grass novel narrated by Danzig native Oskar Matzerath?
Slaughterhouse 5.
Slaughterhouse incorrect. Carbondale, chance to steal.
Knights.
As incorrect, the answer you're looking for was the tin drum. The tin drum. For your next question, what event led to husband Kimmel being relieved of command after the sinking of the USS Arizona? Was the 1941 Japanese Clark?
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor is correct. Well done. For your bonus, in 1973, Salvador Allende was killed in a coup led by what right-wing general who then ruled Chile until 1990?
Pinochet.
Pinochet is correct. Well done. And that will take us to our lightning round. The way our lightning round works is each team will have 60 seconds to answer as many questions as they can about a particular topic. Now, Fairfield, since you guys are trailing in this one, you will have the first pick of the litter. Your choices are French art terms, state's highest points, tigers, or DG words.
DG words.
DG words. All right. Give these words that contain the consecutive letters D and G in that order. 60 seconds on the clock, and I'll make sure to actually start reading this time as I count you down. 3, 2, 1. To evade an oncoming hazard, this word often precedes ball.
Dodge.
That's correct. A thick, milky gruel.
Sludge.
That's incorrect. A small, useful device.
Pass.
To shorten or abbreviate a text.
A bridge.
That's correct. Fat, especially on the belly.
Pass.
A small club or blunt weapon.
Bludgeon.
Can you say that again?
Bludgeon.
Bludgeon is incorrect. Boring, pedantic, and old-fashioned.
Pass.
A type of long-bladed rush-like grass.
Hedge.
Hedge is incorrect. To make small movements impatiently.
Nudge.
Nudge is incorrect. Colorful Australian parakeet.
Pass.
You guys are all out of time, so we'll go back to the ones you missed. A thick, milky gruel was porridge. A small useful device was a gadget. Fat, especially on the belly, was a pudge. A small club or blunt weapon was a cudgel. Boring, pedantic, and old-fashioned was stodgy. A type of long-bladed rush-like grass was a sedge. To make small movements impatiently is to fidget. And a colorful Australian parakeet is a budgie. All right, Carbondale, it is your guys' turn. And your choices are French art terms, state's highest points, or tigers.
Tigers.
Tigers, it is. Answer the following about tigers. 6 seconds on the clock. I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1. Apple computers whose OS had a tiger edition.
Pass.
Culture whose zodiac has the tiger as a third sign.
Chinese.
That's correct. 11-time PGA Player of the Year.
Tiger Woods.
That's correct. Cereal whose mascot is Tony the Tiger.
Frosted Flakes.
That's correct. TV family from the 1970s that had a dog named Tiger.
The Flintstones.
That's incorrect. Title alternative to the Tiger in a Frank Stockton story.
Pass.
ACC school whose teams are the
Clemson.
Tigers.
Clemson.
That's correct. Country home to the Tamil Tigers.
Sri
Sri Lanka.
That's correct. Genus containing tigers and lions.
Fellas.
That's incorrect. 2001 novel that features a tiger named Richard Parker.
Like a pie.
That's correct. A title alternative to the tiger in a Frank Stockton story.
Oh, the lady, the woman, like woman. The lady.
That's correct. Apple computers, all out of time, so we'll go through the ones that you missed. Apple computers whose OS had a Tiger edition is a Mac. The TV family from the 1970s who had a dog named Tiger was the Brady Bunch. The genus containing tigers and lions was Panthera. All right. Now that we are through our bonus round, let's take a look at our scores. We have Fairfield with 135 and Carbondale with 480, but there's still a whole lot of time in the back half of our show. So let's get to it. What product often contains clay to increase its opacity, is made from a suspension called pulp, and consists of cellulose fibers in a flat sheet? Clark.
Paper.
Paper is correct. Hold on. For your bonus, what intelligence alliance consists of the US and its major English-speaking allies, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom?
MI7.
That is incorrect. Fairfield, chance to steal.
Kanzuk.
Kansas is incorrect. The answer we're looking for was the Five Eyes. Five Eyes. For your next toss-up, the Horror Writers Association presented awards named for what Irish author who described Jonathan Harker's trip to Transylvania in the novel Dracula? Clark.
Stoker.
Bram Stoker is correct. Well done. For your bonus, a group of football clubs called the Old Firm are based in what most populous city in Scotland?
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh is incorrect. Fairfield, chance to steal.
Glasgow.
Glasgow is correct. Well done, Chase. For your next question, what type of monument, such as European dolmen tables and the Moai sculptures on Easter Island, is named for being constructed from large stones? Gabriel.
Monolith.
Monolith is incorrect. Daniel.
Sculpture.
Sculpture is incorrect. The answer we're looking for was megalith or megalithic. For next toss-up, what programming language whose Zen can be shown via the command import this uses white space to define Daniel?
Python.
Python is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what female leader of the right-wing National Rally Party lost the 2017 and 2022 French presidential elections to Emmanuel Macron?
Le Pen.
Marine Le Pen is correct. Well done. For your next toss-up, what prime minister who was freed in the Grand Sasso raid signed the Lateran? Right.
Mussolini.
Benito Mussolini is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what English metaphysical poet reflected on illness and faith in his 1624 book Devotions Upon Emergent Occasions, which claimed no man is an island?
Dome.
Dome.
Can you repeat that? for me?
Dome.
Dome.
Dome? Dome? Will we accept that?
Like dome.
I'll say we will not. Fairfield, you do have the chance to steal.
Dome.
No, the answer we're looking for, I think you guys both knew it, just not the pronunciation. It's John Donne,
Okay.
spelled Donne. But I think you had it. I think you both
Just
knew.
right there.
I'll take it to our next toss-up. What people in the Bible whose champion was the 6-cubit and a span Goliath were killed when pillars in a temple to Dagon? Daniel.
The Philistines?
Philistines is correct. Well done. For your bonus, Iraqi forces deliberately set over 600 oil wells on fire during Iraq's 1990 invasion of what country, which prompted the first Gulf War?
Kuwait.
Kuwait is correct. Hold on. For your next question, what country whose cities include New Nicaragua is east of Guyana and is a former Dutch colony in South America? Theodore.
Suriname.
Suriname is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what principle which explains the Venturi effect relates a fluid's increase in speed to a decrease in its potential energy or pressure?
Bernoulli's principle.
Bernoulli's principle is correct. Well done. For your next question, what activist who in 1872 refused to pay a $100 fine for voting worked with Elizabeth Cady Stanton and appeared on a $1 coin? Theodore.
Susan B. Anthony.
Susan B. Anthony is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what work with long runs of 16th notes is a part of an opera by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov and depicts a prince's transformation into the title animal?
Flight of the Bumblebee.
Flight of the Bumblebee is correct. Well done. The next question, what author to whom poet John Berryman wrote an homage wrote, "If ever two were one, then surely we..." Ryan.
Elizabeth Browning.
Elizabeth Browning is incorrect. I will reread it for you, Fairfield. What author to whom poet John Berryman wrote an homage wrote, "If ever two were one, then surely we," in her poem, "To my dear and loving husband"?
Bronte.
Is incorrect. The answer we're looking for there was Anne Bradstreet. Anne Bradstreet. For your next question, what unit originally defined as 1/10,000,000th of the distance from the North Pole to the equator is an SI? Daniel.
The astronomical unit.
Will we accept the astronomical meter? No, we will not. Okay. We will throw it to Fairfield. So I will read the question for you. What unit originally defined as 1/10,000,000th of the distance from the North Pole to the equator is an SI base unit slightly longer than a yard? Chase.
A meter.
A meter is correct. We got a little bit too specific there, so well done, Fairfield. For your bonus, what term for a shallow body of water separated by a narrow landmass from a larger body of water comes from the name for the one surrounding Venice?
Sea.
C is incorrect. Carbondale chance to steal.
Lagoon.
Lagoon is correct. Well done. For your next toss-up, what character created by Derek Kolstad is declared excommunicado from the Continental in a... Daniel.
John Wick.
John Wick is correct. Well done. For your bonus, in 1967, astronauts Gus Grissom, Roger Chaffee, and Ed White were killed when which spacecraft caught fire at Florida Kennedy's Space Center?
No, it's Apollo 1.
Oh, Apollo 1.
Apollo 1 is correct. Well done. For your next question, what author wrote a series of children's books about porcine wonder, Mercy Watson, and depicted a swashbuckling mouse in the tales of Despereaux? Theodore.
Beverly Cleary.
Can you repeat that for me?
Beverly Cleary.
That is incorrect. Chase.
Kipling.
Kipling is also incorrect. The answer we're looking for was Kate DiCamillo. Kate DiCamillo. For your next question, what instrument for which Louis Verne wrote his Carillon de Westminster have hundreds of stops and can push air through 32? Theodore.
An organ.
Pipe organ is correct. Well done. For your bonus, what herb has a Thai variety as well as a sweet variety that is a major ingredient in a traditional pesto sauce?
Basil.
Basil is correct. Well done, Daniel. For our next question, what woman was advised not to dry clean her blue dress by her friend Linda Tripp? Chase.
Jackie Kennedy.
Jackie Kennedy is incorrect. I'll reread it for you, Carbondale. What woman was advised not to dry clean her blue dress by her friend Linda Tripp so that it could prove her affair with President Bill Clinton? Ryan.
Monica Lewinsky.
Monica Lewinsky is correct. For your bonus, what author of The Lucifer Effect conducted a study with guards and prisoners known as the Stanford Prisoner Experiment?
Zimbardo.
Zimbardo is correct. Well done. For your next toss-up, what character rejects a marriage proposal from aspiring missionary Saint Jean Rivers after leaving Edward Rochester in a novel by Charlotte Bronte? Clark.
Emma.
Emma is incorrect. Gabriel.
Emily.
Emily is incorrect. The answer we're looking for was Jane Eyre. And that is all the time we have for on today's show. I'm kind of bummed about it because we were so close to actually getting through all of the questions for once. I think this is the closest we've ever gotten. We would have been on question 37 out of 40. So you guys were flying through them, honestly. But let's just take a quick look at our scores. We have Carbondale on top with 735 to Fairfield 165. Carbondale looking a bit upset that they haven't been on top the past few years, trying to get back to that championship title. And that's all the time we have for on today's show. For our lovely contestants here today and the people working hard behind the camera, I'm Ethan Neer. Thank you so much, and good night.